Okay, so here is a video that's going to be a follow-up to one I already did on how to do DCP truck runs. So after I released that video, there was a lot of questions came out just going into the weeds and a little bit more of the minutia of how to do this, and just questions that no one really supplies you answers to unless you start doing these kinds of things. So in this video, I want to answer those questions. I went ahead and printed them off. Here they are. I'm just going to read them off and I'll answer them. And again, this is not the definitive answer. This is the answer based on my experience and just what I've learned thus far. So if you happen to know something more or have a correction, please leave it in the comments as you watch this. So, question number one. Do you truly get to decide what truck and trailer, Pete, KW, and grain trailer, tanker, or flatbed that you want to do whenever you want to do a run? So far, that's been my experience. I received no coaching, no instructions, no prohibitions of any kind. I basically said, I want to do this. And in one case, I did have to submit, well, excuse me, more than one case, but on the runs where I used somebody else's name, I had to get documentation giving me permission to use that name. In one case was Johnson Harvesting. Another one was a company out of Mississippi. I had to have their permission to use their branding and logo and colors and all that good stuff. And then I could do it. But if it was just a pure owner-operator, like I had this idea in my imagination, I'm like, I want to do blue and white flat top Kenworth, I received no pushback of any kind. I just said, that's what I want. They quoted me, I paid for it, and they're mine. And then a follow-up question after I answered that first one was, I just wondered when I saw so many guys doing the same general combo at the single time. Those guys may have been trying to drive DCP to a better price, and that's true. Okay, so you have the question here. This person's seeing some commonalities in and this happened in 2023. There was a group of guys got together and they ran 10 different grain trailers in order to get a better price. So they spread out the risk between a few people. They all got what they wanted and they got a better price for it. So, and this is just economics 101. For example, if you order one replica of your truck from me, I'm going to charge you between $500 and $600. However, if you order 252 of your truck from Diecast Promotions, you're going to pay $80 or $60 a set, depending on, based on quantities of scale. That's all there is to it. And if you order 1,000 versus 504, the price will be different. A real life example is Sam, Austin, and we got together. I put it out there, said, I'm going to do this truck. Who wants to tag on? So I already had 504, two sets of 252. Here they are. I had these 504 already planned up. And Sam and Austin said, well, Sam said, I want 504, and Austin said, I want 252. We got our quantity up, and then the price came down. Now, it wasn't substantial. It's not like it came down $20 a set. It came down $5 a set. So I don't recall exactly what we paid for ours, but for example, let's say we paid, the initial 504 I wanted was $75 a truck. When we got over 1,000, it came down $5, so now we're paying 70 instead of 75. Does that make sense? Say yes. All right. So it's just quantities of scale. And that is not uncommon for different people to partner up and get their quantities up and then be able to get their price down. Something else that happened, so one of the other bits of this question was, he said he sees guys doing similar things. Well, so this is just the gospel according to Eric. What I also think happens is, as different as we think we are, we do behave similarly in this domain. What do I mean by that? It seems like things go in waves in the diecast area. For example, all 2023 on a Peterbilt, you saw 3 things on about every run, and it didn't matter who did them. You saw a Widow Peak visor, which looks like a Batman sign, and then you saw round singles and round double headlights. And that was so common in 2023. I'm having difficulty finding double square headlights. They're just not around in great quantities. But man, if you want to find single and doubles, they are all over the place. Also, and step decks and flatbeds this year. Holy smokes, there's buckets of them. And also detaches. Oh my crap, just so many of them. And then of course, in 2023, we had this collaboration with some guys that did a whole bunch of grain trailers. And there was like, what was it, 5,000 or however, I don't know how many grain trailers, but there was a bucket load of them. There was a bunch. Another quick anecdote too. So when we did our 5 center drop trailers with Kenworth flat tops. Now the 60-inch Kenworth flat top hadn't been done in ages. I mean, several years. Kenworth wouldn't allow anyone to do a flat top, 60-inch flat top. So that was our big idea. We're going to be the ones that do it. Well, what we found out as we were in that process of getting it approved, someone else was also doing flat tops. And then someone behind us, as I later discovered after ours came out, there were other 60-inch flat tops being done. So you can see how so many of us were looking at what's available and we all think similarly like, oh, 60-inch flat top hadn't been done. Let's try that. Let's see if we can get that done. And then, 2 or 3 other people are already thinking of it too. So there's that. Anyways, okay. In the example of Kenworth, I had mentioned Kenworth needing to approve something. Well, here's a question regarding that. Did you talk to Kenworth directly, or does DCP doing the interfacing to get permissions on new things? Yes. So what happens is you are assigned a representative, and in my case it's Tom. Tom is my rep. I submit the idea to Tom. In this case it was the Kenworth with 60-inch flat top. We said, Tom, this is what we want to do. He says, I will go to Kenworth and get it and see if they'll approve it. Now, as of this recording, everything you want to do on a Kenworth W900. I don't know if it applies to the other models like T800, T660. Right now on the W900, Kenworth Corporate has to approve if you put specific things on those trucks. Now, if it's just a generic stock, no frills truck, you can get that rubber stamped and run it right through. However, if you want, in our case, the 60-inch flat top, that has to be approved. And I've just seen recently, now this is getting all nerd speak on you. Years ago, you could get show parts like straight pipes and fancy fenders and all these other things. You could get what they call show parts on trucks, and then it was eliminated. And then now it seems like Kenworth is approving show parts on trucks because there's some coming this spring or in early summer 2024. So that is happening. But to answer the question quickly, your rep does all the interfacing, all the Q&A between Kenworth Corporate and you. So all you do is submit the idea and the rest of it's handled for you. So let's say a person does a run. Is that run limited to that person doing the run, or does it become the property of DCP to sell the truck to anyone? Or would that have to be something like the Farmer's Oil runs because of naming rights? Okay, we have 2 questions there. One, I'll use the example of my flat top Kenworths, the 2 that I did. Now the one is Sable and Las Vegas Gold, and then the stripes are just Pantone color codes. There's no copyright on any of that. That is not my intellectual property. You can copy that truck line by line by line, and that is okay. Now I could say you're a big D-bag for doing it because you're stealing my idea, but there's no restrictions. You could do that exact truck and DCP would let you. Now, the caveat would be, if there was a name on it that's someone's intellectual property, like a logo or a brand or something specific, like the breast cancer color is a color limited to that group, or the ribbon, for example. Anything that has a copyright on it, you have to get written permission to use, period, or you can't do it. DCP won't let you. So if you say you wanted to do a Rockin' H Farm Toys run and use my branding and my logo, I can sign off on that and say, yes, you can. You can use my logo for a year or indefinitely. I could say, you can use my logo, but you can only do 504 pieces and that's it. And then I could say, you can use it for free, or I could charge you to use it. It's my branding, my logo, my intellectual property. So I'm giving you permission with these stipulations, or I'm just giving you free permission to do it, and we work that out, okay? In my experience so far, this has not really been an issue. I've given the intellectual property paper to the person that I'm asking for permission from. They signed it, and I wrote in there, I just want to use it for a year. I'm going to do 504 pieces. Here we go. And then we're done. That's all there is to it. But as long as there's no copyright on it, you can use it. We covered this in the first one, but it seems like you can't answer this one enough. What is the minimum order quantity, the MOQ, for custom diecast replicas? And that is 504 pieces for that truck or tractor trailer set. Now, the caveat, and I explained this in the previous video, you can break that into 2 orders of 252, and I explained that in the other video. They have to be identical, less colors, and that's about all. Can I get a lower amount than 504? Here's a little distinction that's important to know. Yes, you can. So let's say Diecast Promotions, you ring them up and you say, I want a 379 with a tandem axle cattle pot with straight miter cut pipes. And they say, hey Eric, you're in good luck. We are doing that already. You want to tag on? And I say, yes, I would. Here's my info. So if Diecast Promotions is already running something that you want something of, you can tag on at the minimum order quantity of 252. But this is where the clarification is really important. You have to do whatever they are doing. So let's say you like everything about the truck, the sets they're running, but you don't want miter cut pipes. You want turnouts. Well, tough luck. They're not doing miter cuts, they're not doing turnouts, they're doing miter cuts. Does that make sense? Or let's say everything is perfect about the truck, but you want a flatbed. Well, no, they're running cattle pots. So unless you're doing something exactly the way they're doing it, you can't tag on. Hopefully that's clear enough for you. What is the minimum order quantity for a new model that doesn't exist? Right now, 5,000 pieces is what you would have to get or order for something that doesn't exist. For example, you want a T600 Kenworth. Other manufacturers make a T600, but you want the level of detail that Diecast Promotions offers. Then 5,000 pieces is what you'd have to have. Or say a Merit cattle pot. 5,000 pieces plus Merit's permission is what you would have to get. What is the lead time for a replica from the production to start this? Okay, lead time is generally 7 months, and then I already talked about that in the previous video. Oh, this was an interesting question. What if I just want my company logo on a truck? Okay, if you are not, if you're not real partial to a specific make and model of diecast truck, then you can just get your branding on what they call blanks. So DCP carries, they have in their warehouse just a bunch of blanks of random things, like a Freightliner Cascadia with a 53-foot dry van. You could order an amount of those with your company logo and branding on it. It'd just be a white truck, for example, and then your branding would be on it, and then you buy those, and then you can give them away as promotional items or whatever you want to do. And then there's different minimum order quantities for those, but it's certainly not 252 for your own tooling or 504 for your own specific make and model of truck. You're just ordering a generic truck, you got your branding on it, and then say you could order 100 pieces of those, for example, if you want those. Okay, final question. Can you get your own custom logos? Can you get a custom box for your tractor trailer? And yes, you can. And that is a surprising upcharge. So the question when Sam Austin and I did our 5 trucks together, that we would like to get a custom box. So ours would stand out on a shelf at a toy show or in a retail environment, a little, above the others, right? It'd just stand out, and maybe we'd sell more of them. And that was a surprising upcharge, I'll be honest with you. But I want to say it was $10 a truck just for the custom box. And that was like, whoa, dude, yeah, we're not doing that. We'll just hustle and sell ours the old-fashioned way, right? But anyways, you can get your own custom imprinted box, and if that turns you on, that's just another option that you can pay for and get that done. So that's kind of where it's at. All right, that is all I got for this episode. and I hope that you've learned something from it. Again, this isn't the definitive encyclopedia of knowledge on how to do this. This is just what I've learned and shared so far. And if there is anything else that needs clarity, if you still have some sort of hanging question that maybe I didn't answer fully or didn't answer at all, leave it in the comments below and I'll be happy to share what I've learned. So thanks for watching and good luck. We'll catch you in the next one.